Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Angela Levin didn't drop a bombshell, she detonated a PR nuke. In one calculated breath, the veteran royal biographer didn't just throw shade at Meghan Markle, she cracked open the entire fairy tale romance that's been sold to the world for the past 7 years. And what's lurking beneath that polished love story? A strategic power play that might have started with someone else entirely. Prince William. Yeah, you heard that right. According to Levin, Meghan didn't initially set her sights on Harry. She wanted the big prize, the heir, not the spare. That's the claim now floating around like smoke in a closed room, making everyone cough with suspicion. And this isn't coming from a random gossip blog. This is Angela Levin, the woman who's been rubbing shoulders with palace insiders since before Meghan even knew what a duchess was. Levin claims she heard it straight from people inside the palace, real ones, not gossip columnists, staffers, aides, people who saw it firsthand. They say Meghan's early behavior raised eyebrows, not just because she was eager, but because that eagerness seemed laser-locked on William. Not in an overtly romantic way, but like a hunter sizing up her prey. Calculated charm, studied warmth, not flirting, positioning. Strategic moves from someone who knew proximity equals power in royal circles. Now let's pause. Meghan Markle wasn't some clueless actress accidentally wandering into the royal family. By the time she showed up at events where the Cambridges were present, she'd been moving in elite circles for years. Hollywood celebrity stylists, political donors, she knew how the game worked. And if what Levin says is true, she played it like a pro. She knew where William and Kate would be. She got herself invited. She didn't stumble into these rooms. She navigated toward them. But here's where it gets juicy. According to Levin, William saw it coming from a mile away. Raised in the royal spotlight, the man's been trained to spot opportunists like a hawk spots a rabbit. He kept it cordial, polite, but distant. Meghan's charm apparently bounced right off him, and Kate, she saw it too. That warm sisterly bond Meghan would later claim she longed for, it never existed, not because of class differences or cultural misunderstandings, but because Meghan had allegedly once had her sights on Kate's husband. Imagine being in Kate's shoes, every event, every dinner, every public appearance, clocking this woman who studies your husband a little too closely. That's not a bond waiting to happen. That's a threat you keep at arm's length. When William made it clear he wasn't playing along, the narrative shifted fast. Meghan met Harry. The timing couldn't have been better. A royal bachelor, emotionally open, a bit rebellious, and most importantly, single. Within weeks of their first date, things escalated. Commitment, media headlines, fairy tale in motion. But according to Levin, this wasn't a whirlwind romance born from fate. It was the backup plan. When William became unreachable, Harry became the next viable door into the monarchy. And Harry, bless him, walked right into it. The speed of their romance wasn't just love, it was urgency, a pivot. And that's why this whole thing is blowing up now, because if people start to believe Harry wasn't Meghan's first choice, then the story they've been selling, the interviews, the documentaries, the memoirs, starts to feel less like truth and more like PR fiction. And nobody likes to be lied to, especially when the lie comes wrapped in a tiara. It wasn't just the William revelation that shook people, it was the pattern it fit into. Meghan's relationships, personal and professional, have always had a common thread: access, influence, positioning. Long before she walked into a royal garden party, she'd shown signs of knowing how to play the proximity game. Look at her first marriage. Trevor Engelson wasn't some random guy from a Hollywood coffee shop. He was a producer with connections, a direct pipeline into the entertainment industry. That relationship elevated her profile faster than any audition could. Then came her post-divorce glow-up. Suddenly, Meghan was being photographed with stylists, publicists, and socialites with deeper connections than anyone she met on the Suits set. Each time, she was just a little closer to the world she seemed to want. Elite, exclusive, untouchable. That's what makes Levin's claims so damaging. They don't stand alone. They fit perfectly into a pattern. Meghan doesn't just form relationships, she positions herself through them. Levin didn't just make vague statements either. She cited palace staffers who noticed Meghan's very specific interest in William, not just as the charming prince everyone knew, but as a strategic figure who represented everything she was allegedly chasing: status, legacy, and most of all, power. If you believe that narrative, then everything that came after, the Harry romance, the royal wedding, the Oprah interview, starts to feel like a spin job. And then there's Kate. Meghan once described her as standoffish and difficult. But what if, instead of personality clashes, the tension stemmed from something more primal? Territory. Kate wasn't just Meghan's sister-in-law. She was the woman who had the crown Meghan allegedly wanted most. If Levin's story holds weight, then Kate wasn't just a co-star in Meghan's royal chapter. She was the competitor who won. Insiders say Kate saw the red flags early, kept her distance, and played it cool. Meghan painted herself as wanting a warm, sisterly bond, but getting the cold shoulder instead. But what if that chilly relationship was the aftershock of a rivalry that started before Harry even entered the chat? The real kicker: Meghan's silence. Normally, when something hits the press that she doesn't like, her team moves fast. Legal threats, press releases, carefully worded clapbacks. But on this, crickets. No statement. No denial. Not even a subtle dig. That vacuum of response has only made the speculation louder. Critics are calling it an unspoken confession. Her supporters seem stuck, because how do you defend silence when the accusation cuts this deep? Strip away the PR fluff, and you're left with this. A woman accused of treating the royal family like a ladder, with William as the first rung. True or not, the story has taken root, and in the public eye, perception is reality. If Meghan's fairy tale started as a plan B, it forces people to reevaluate everything about the Sussexes. The romance, the exile, the victimhood narrative. Now, it's not just about what Meghan did, it's about what people believe she was always trying to do. And that belief is where the real damage begins. When the smoke clears, what's left isn't just a damaged reputation, it's a collapsed foundation. The very story that made Harry and Meghan marketable, the forbidden love, the outsider princess fighting the system, starts to look less like destiny and more like a marketing pitch. If Meghan really did see William as her first target, then Harry becomes less of a soulmate and more of a convenient second act. That's not just awkward, that's fatal for a brand built on authenticity. And that brand is everything, from Netflix deals to book advances to speaking engagements. The Sussex empire relies on one image: the couple who chose love over duty. But Levin's claim slices through that image, because if this was never about love, then the public isn't watching a love story. They're watching a calculated takeover attempt that didn't go to plan. Inside the palace, some are quietly celebrating. They've been accused of being cold, unwelcoming, even racist. But if this revelation is true, it flips the script. It doesn't make the royals saints, but it justifies their suspicion. They saw something in Meghan early on, something they couldn't quite say out loud. And now they don't have to. For Harry, this hits differently. It's not just a blow to his wife's image, it's a blow to his judgment. If he truly was the backup plan, then every bold choice he made, leaving the royal family, burning bridges, trashing his family, starts to look like he was played. Worse, it makes him look like he still doesn't realize it. That's dangerous for someone whose whole persona is built on honesty and emotion. The idea that he was manipulated from the start breaks the illusion, and once that breaks, everything else starts to wobble. Supporters have tried to brush this off as recycled royal drama, but the lack of a denial, the eerie silence, and the whispers from palace insiders have created a storm that's hard to ignore. Meghan may think staying quiet keeps the fire from spreading, but here, silence is gasoline. Even more damaging is how neatly the claim fits into her history. Meghan's relationships have always seemed to revolve around upward movement, not in a gold digger sense, but in a calculated, ambitious way. Each relationship, each friendship, each event fits the ladder climbing rhythm. It's not necessarily illegal or even unethical, but it is deliberate, and that deliberateness makes people uneasy. Angela Levin's words didn't cause the damage, they revealed it. What's unraveling now is trust. The public bought into a story that now feels suspiciously curated. And if people stop believing the love story, what do the Sussexes have left? A broken relationship with the royals, a media machine turning on them, and a fan base starting to ask questions they never thought they'd ask. In the end, the real tragedy might not be Meghan's ambition or the palace's coldness. It might be Harry, left standing in the middle, defending a love that may have never been what he thought it was. Not the hero of a fairy tale, just a prince caught in someone else's playbook.